Okay, so FA, we had talked about the experiences that I've had that got me motivated about getting into this and having these conversations. And you were just saying some things that really got me to thinking about all that energy that I had that made me want to do this. Right. I think about 18 years of being at these conferences, and I'm lucky enough to represent a lot of different angles of this business, right? Yep. So I'm at property valuation conferences and insurance conferences, and I'm at insurance conferences where we're partnering with Lloyd's of London, and half the people from there that are there are from Europe. Yep. And so it's a whole new group of people to work with. And then I'm at the mortgage bankers where there's no credit unions, but there's all these banks. And then I'm at these non-mortgage lending conferences. And the one thing that kept coming back to me is how few Black people are at these events.
Of course.
From the insurance angles to the property valuations, there's just not enough of us here. Yeah. And then as I see this conversation coming up more and more about this thing that's happening, and thing that mortgage lenders should be taking advantage of for growth purposes in terms of focusing on these emerging markets, yet so few of us are in this conversation. And it really made me feel like I had to do something. I need to talk to people. I'm here, I'm seeing this, it's front and center. I need to reach out to people. And it's basically two sides of the same coin. You've got on the homeownership side, where you're underrepresented, right? Yep. A lot of these folks, a lot of Black people, young Black professionals are growing up in homes as kids where their parents didn't own their home. Yep. So it might not have even been emphasized. They might not have even been introduced to property ownership. And then with that comes some of the career opportunities associated with that same thing. So you got this real estate lending and mortgage banking ecosystem that is driving wealth in our nation and in the world in so many ways. Yep. You need to own a home to build wealth, to gain that equity, but at the same time, there's all these careers tied to this thing driving wealth, and we're not in that either. And for me, I had a moment and I'm thinking, I can't solve this, but I can at least bring attention to the people and the organizations that are working to do that. So I want to thank you because you're one of those people. You were the first one I wanted to talk to because I know what you're doing. I know where your heart is. And a part of what showed me where your heart was when you introduced me to Home Free USA. Yes. And you showed me what they were doing, right? So again, we mentioned them earlier. I know they're focusing on underserved, trying to help people attain home ownership, right? And they're focused on reducing this wealth gap, reducing these home ownership gaps, right? Maybe you can tell the audience just a little bit about Home Free USA, what you guys do over there, and just where they're going as an organization.
Of course. I've been fortunate and honored to serve on the board of Home Free USA. And you talked about, two key issues within the financial sector and mortgage. One is assisting people that are underserved and getting them home ready to ultimately purchase a home and build generational wealth. And then two, trying to get more representation in this market, right? So, I was fortunate because as I connected with Marcia at Home Free was actually through Susan Stewart a few years ago. And when I discovered their agenda and how they were addressing the two issues that you've mentioned, I was impressed. I mean, it's somewhat of a holy grail approach, right? A holistic approach. So first, what Home Free does, right? So they offer counseling, financial literacy counseling, as well as servicing counseling to help people that currently own homes that are having difficulties make their payments. They work with them to show them how they can make modifications to stay in their home, right? And then for the underserved, the individuals that do not have the loan officers or realtors reaching out to them, they provide them with the education, say, hey, you are home ready, right? And they work with them to partner them with the appropriate third-party vendors, right? So they offered a financial literacy and housing counseling to get folks into a home, right? So that's the first dynamic. The second dynamic is the representation. Home Free also offers financial support and literacy to historically Black college and universities.
That's right, yeah.
So in fact, right now they represent 10 major HBCUs, and they partnered with those universities and the students to create what they call a Center of Financial Advancement Program, CFA. And they essentially, I think roughly about 50 students per university. They groomed them and they trained them through various aspects of the financial sector, right? So whether it's grooming them to be LOs, realtors, appraisers, insurance and valuation experts. But the goal is, you don't tackle this problem short term. You have to have a long-term strategy, right? So as these students are getting through college, they are now exposed to the financial sector and job placement as well. A lot of other companies have participated in the CFA to provide internships, including SWBC, and it's been rolled out for the past 5 years, and we've seen roughly 60% conversion rate of the students going back into a financial sector.
Oh, really? That's a great success rate. Yes, that's wonderful. And I did know a little bit about that. You guys have an event coming up this fall. Hopefully we can provide some information out for the audience about that. But again, I think it's in Atlanta later this fall, where the HBCU, some select students are going to be there, and a number of professionals from the industry are going to go out there and speak. I hope to be there. I hope to be at that event this fall.
The conference.
Reaching me, exactly. Yes. So yes, I plan to be there. That's again, it's a great opportunity to reach those students and try to bring more people into this industry with a good knowledge base about what's going on and how they can help.
Absolutely.
Hey, thank you guys for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. More videos are on the way.